Pottermore adventure, and unfortunately, the screen capture messed up while I was getting my Patronus. It told me it would be better with headphones, so I unplugged my mic, which actually has a one of those jacks that you plug into the headphone jack, and I don't have the best mic, I'll be honest, and it actually made the video stop recording, which was shitty. So I got into the point where I went in to start picking my Patronus, and then the video stopped, which was messed up because I'd read the whole Patronus thing, and I did everything, and I was just like, oh, really? I have to do this again? But, you know, so apparently I'm just going to cast my Patronus for you because this is going to be awesome. So click drag and release for your Patronus, and you'll see what I've got. Ready? Damn right. You have previously discovered your Patronus, which is a Nebulung cat. Yeah, that thing looks awesome, doesn't it? I love cats. I am a cat person. At the beginning of my last video, where I was doing the Ilvermorny house, which took much longer than I expected, but I enjoyed the story so much. I am under the belief that William the Pugwudgie is almost as cool or equal to Dobby right now. That was the coolest thing ever. I want to cast him. So cool. Yeah, Nebulung cat. So, unfortunately, you didn't get to see me get my Patronus for the first time, but, you know, crap happens. I apologize. I looked up what Nebulung cat was. I didn't know if it was just a Harry Potter world thing or if it was real, but apparently Nebulung is just a species of cat, which was kind of cool to find out. Okay, go back to the profile. More about my Patronus. We're gonna read this again. I read it like half an hour ago, but we're gonna do it again because I've got to get this stuff done. The Patronus. Okay, sorry. Patronus Charm by J.K. Rowling. The Patronus is the most famous and famously difficult defensive charm. The aim is to produce a silvery white guardian or protector, which takes the form of an animal. The exact form of the Patronus will not be apparent until the spell has been successfully cast. One of the most powerful defensive charms known to wizard kind, the Patronus can also be used as a messenger between wizards. As a pure, protective, magical concentration of happiness and hope, the recollection of a single talisman memory is essential to its creation. It is the only spell effective against Dementors. The majority of witches and wizards are unable to produce Patronuses, and to do so is generally considered a mark of superior magical ability. Does that mean that Harry is like the best defense against the dark arts teacher of all time because he taught like 90% to 100% of the DA how to do a Patronus? Or is it because of the hardship of the situation that they had to reach deep inside of themselves and learn the power anyway? But regardless, we have a whole generation of DA members that can produce a Patronus, which is kind of cool. Some witches and wizards may manage an incorporeal Patronus, which resembles a mass or a wisp of silvery vapor smoke. You mean like every Patronus Harry casts other than like the third movie? I don't remember if his Patronus is a stag in the seventh. It might be, but like, you know, I mean, in the fifth movie, it was just that white glow. I was like, why is he casting a incorporeal Patronus after 2 years after he learned it? It was kind of ridiculous. In some cases, a witch or wizard may choose to produce an incorporeal Patronus deliberately. I doubt that's what Harry was doing. If he or she wishes to disguise the form it generally takes. Remus Lupin, for instance, is afraid that his corporeal Patronus gives too much away. Afraid that his corporeal Patronus gives too much away. I said incorporeal. The incorporeal Patronus is not a true Patronus, and while it will give limited protection, it cannot provide the defensive power of the corporeal Patronus, which has the form and substance of an animal. The Patronus charm is one of the most ancient of charms and appears in many accounts of early magic. That's something I didn't know and was really cool. It's a really ancient spell. In spite of a long association with those fighting for lofty or noble causes, Those able to produce corporeal Patronuses were often elected to high offices within the Wisgamot and Ministry of Magic. The Patronus is not unknown among dark wizards. While there is a widespread and justified belief that a wizard who is not pure of heart cannot produce a successful Patronus, the most famous example of the spell backfiring is the dark wizard, I can't say it, guys, Raxidian, maybe? Who was devoured by maggots? Really? Devoured by maggots? That's kind of messed up. Does that mean, if he was devoured by maggots because his Patronus backfired, does that mean he kind of lost his soul, or the Dementor got him and he became lifeless and a shell of himself and just got eaten? I don't know. That's kind of weird. A rare few witch and wizards of questionable morals have succeeded in producing the charm. Yeah, Dolores Umbridge, for example, is able to produce a cat Patronus. And let me be very clear, just because my Patronus is a cat Patronus, do not put me in the same, okay, as Umbridge. She is a horrible person. I once put a poll up on Google Plus a couple years ago, and I got hundreds more votes of people hating Umbridge than Voldemort. And I think that's because at least Voldemort was an interesting character, and Umbridge was just a colossal, horrible, horrible person. I'm trying not to swear too much. I almost said other things. Dolores Umbridge, for example, is able to conjure a cat Patronus to protect herself from Dementors. It may be true that the confident belief in the righteousness of one's actions can supply the necessary happiness. However, not most such men and women who become desensitized to the effects of the dark creatures with whom they may ally themselves regard the Patronus as an unnecessary spell to have in their arsenal. Now, it may be true that confident in the belief of their righteousness of that one's actions can supply the necessary happiness. I don't think Umbridge thought she was right. I think Umbridge just enjoys messing with people and tearing them down. You know, I don't think she's very confident in herself, so she needs to tear everyone else to pieces, which is messed up. No reliable system for predicting the form of an individual's Patronus has ever been found, although the great 18th century researcher of charms, Professor Catalus Spangle, set forth certain principles that are widely accepted as true. The Patronus, asserted Spangle, represents that which is hidden, unknown, but necessary within the personality. For those wondering why I'm reading this so much better than the other ones, it's because I read this, and then the video cut out, and now I'm reading it again. So I actually have read it before, so it's coming across better. For those of you who think I should continue doing that, just read it before, and then record myself reading it so it sounds better. Let me know in the comments below. For it is evident, he writes in his masterwork, Charms of Defense and Deterrence, that a human confronted with inhuman evil, such as the Dementor, must draw upon resources he or she may never have needed, and the Patronus is awakened secret self that lies dormant until needed, but which must now be brought to light. Here, says Spangle, is the explanation for the appearance of Patronuses in forms that their casters might not expect, for which they have never felt any particular affinity, or in even rarer cases, even recognize. Spangle is interesting on the subject of those unusual. Was that supposed to be interested? Witches and wizards who produce a Patronus that takes the form of their favorite animal, like Dumbledore. It is my firm belief that such a Patronus is an indicator of obsession or eccentricity. I think we're going to put Dumbledore and his Phoenix Patronus under eccentricity. Here is a wizard who may not be able to hide their essential self in common life, who may indeed parade tendencies that others might prefer to conceal. Whatever the form of their Patronus, you would be well advised to show respect, and occasional caution toward a witch or wizard who produces the Patronus of their choice. Yeah, Dumbledore always deserves respect. Always, right, Snape? The form of a Patronus may change during the course of a witch or wizard's life. Instances have been known of the form of the Patronus transforming due to bereavement, falling in love, or profound shifts in a person's character. Thus, Nymphadora Tonk's Patronus changes from a jackrabbit to a wolf, not a werewolf, when she falls in love with Remus Lupin. Some witches and wizards may be unable to produce a Patronus at all until they have undergone some kind of psychic shock. You know what? Maybe that's why so many of the DA can produce a Patronus, because they were all having to deal with Voldemort coming back. They had to deal with the Dementors the year before. They had Umbridge running around making their school a hellhole. So possibly that is the reason all the DA members were able to actually produce one, other than the fact that Harry is just the best Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher ever, and when he retires from being an Auror, should definitely become the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. It is unusual but not inevitable for Patronus to take the form of an anomaly commonly found in the caster's native country. Given their long affinity with humans, it is perhaps unsurprising that among the most common Patronuses, although it must be remembered that any corporeal Patronus is highly unlikely, are dogs, cats, and horses. However, every Patronus is unique as its creator, and even identical twins have been known to produce very different Patronuses. Well, that's actually kind of interesting. So Fred and George would probably produce different Patronuses. I need to look back up at what their Patronuses were. I don't actually remember, and it makes me feel bad. I have all 7 books on Audible. I have all 8 movies? I have all the movies on Blu-ray. So I should probably, now that I'm doing all this Pottermore stuff, go back through both the books and the movies. Let me know if you want me to do reviews or what. I'm just having a lot of fun going back through Harry Potter. It is one of my favorite literary series. It is one of my favorite fantasy series of all time. Extinct Patronuses are very rare, but not unknown. Strangely, given their long connection with wizard kind, owl Patronuses are unusual. That actually surprises me. I think an owl Patronus would look really cool. Most uncommon of all possible Patronuses are magical creatures such as dragons, Thestrals, and phoenixes, so Dumbledore is especially awesome. Never forget, though, that one of the most famous Patronuses of all time was a lowly mouse, which belonged to a legendary young wizard called Ilias, who used it to hold off an attack of an army of Dementors single-handedly. Rowling, I understand you're doing all your Fantastic Beasts. This needs to be in there. It needs to be talked about, or you at least need to write a book, because a wizard using a mouse Patronus against an army of Dementors, that needs to be explored. That is so cool. While a rare and magical Patronus undoubtedly reflects an unusual personality, it does not follow that it is more powerful or it will enjoy greater success at defending its caster. Expecto Patronum. That was a lot of fun. That was cool. I reread it again, and I enjoyed it just as much, which is actually kind of interesting. And I was able to read it better, too. Well, everybody, thank you for watching the 4th installment of our Pottermore adventure. I got my Patronus. I'm sorry you couldn't actually be there with me when I actually got it for the first time, but what are you going to do? If you finish this video and want some more Patronus information, or you just want more videos about Patronus, I suggest you check out the incredibly talented and the incredibly entertaining Super Carlin brothers, who need no help from me. They are getting like hundreds and hundreds of thousands to millions of views on all their videos. But in the last 48 hours, I have watched 2 videos about Patronuses with them. One being, what will Newt Scamander's be a Patronus be? Because apparently Rowling said that would be a spoiler. And they're going through that, was very entertaining. And what would Hagrid's Patronus be? Which J.K. Rowling also said that, unfortunately, Hagrid would not have the technical skill to produce a Patronus, but they still decided to go through and figure out what kind of Patronus he would have anyways. And while I'm not particularly fond of the creature they decided on in the end, I must concede that it is appropriate and believable. So, if you haven't seen those videos, I suggest you go look up Super Carlin Brothers and find that out. Have a wonderful day. I think when I come back to Pottermore, I'm going to start exploring 0 of 100 Hogwarts locations. That's going to be interesting. Let me know if you have any suggestions for what you want me to do or anything like that. Take care and have a wonderful day.